Hello, my name is Brian. I'm here with AAMI News and Conversation. We're at HIMSS 2023 in Chicago, and I'm here with Brett Harris. We're going to talk about cybersecurity, but before we dive into all that, you probably want to know who we're talking to today. So Brett, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Brett Harris. I'm Siemens Healthineers Cybersecurity Officer for the Americas region. I cover both internal governance and external product cybersecurity. So I do a lot of consulting with HDOs, a lot of product discussions and things like that.
And so that makes Brett a really good person to talk to when we're thinking about, I guess, the wider angle of cybersecurity and the professionals who are almost on the front lines worrying about this day to day. But Brett, obviously cybersecurity is always a big focus for health technology and medical devices. But I noticed, at this conference, it seems to have taken second chair, so to speak, to AI and a bunch of the other really buzzworthy topics. But it's still something important, right? It's not like it's been solved. Is that so?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you're right. AI is huge right now. Everyone's talking about what you can do with ChatGPT and everything like that. But cybersecurity continues to be a huge issue and is actually getting worse every year. We saw a huge uptick in cybersecurity attacks starting in 2020, and that has continued over the past couple of years to only increase further. And it seems to be that healthcare organizations, even though some of the advanced persistent threat actors in the world have said that they're not going to attack hospitals and they're not going to attack healthcare organizations, they have been, and it's been getting worse.
I have heard several examples of, they'll say, oh, we're going to only attack academic institutions. Well, most academic many academic institutions are attached to hospitals.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so then you've got all the fallout. A lot of times those networks are connected. And so you're able to traverse from an academic network to potentially a hospital network in a scenario like that.
Okay. So let's talk about, silver linings first. Has awareness increased?
Yeah, awareness has definitely increased. When I started in my cybersecurity journey myself within Siemens, you really didn't see a whole lot of hospital CISOs, Chief Information Security Officers. Okay. Now, I believe it was Chime that released a recent report, and there's a growing number of institutions that are employing a head of security, cybersecurity at the board level. So that's a big improvement. We're also seeing more budgets going towards cybersecurity, which is important as well.
Okay. So now, of course, the question then becomes, how do you intelligently spend said budget increase? Right.
Well, it really depends on the institution because it depends on where you are in your cybersecurity journey. When we look at large institutions, we see that they've got very robust security programs. They've got not just IT security, but they've got a medical device security program as well. And that is something that we need to look for in every hospital. It's not just enough to look at IT security. Medical devices are a big piece of connected devices in a hospital. And that's where my focus is, securing medical devices and ensuring our customers have the tools they need to secure their medical devices. So like if I were talking to a small or mid-sized hospital, I would want to know, okay, have you started implementing basic IT security controls? Not everybody has. And then the second step would be looking at your medical device security program.
Okay. And I guess, when you come to those questions, is legacy devices, is that part of the equation? I can imagine when you're a smaller institution, you probably have more legacy devices.
You know what? Legacy devices are a problem no matter the size of the hospital.
Okay.
Nobody has enough money to upgrade all of their devices all the time. And So we're seeing somewhere in the range of 20 to 30% of systems having a current operating system. So that means, 70+% of a hospital's systems are running Windows XP, Windows 7, or something like that. But this is an area where security can actually play a positive role, and not just a positive role in the security sense, but also in a business sense. So I'll give you an example.
Please.
We're partnered with a company called Medigate, and they have this wonderful platform where it identifies all the systems on a customer's network. And one of the things that it does is identifies utilization of those devices. Okay. So one of the things that we do when we look at those kinds of systems is we say, okay, maybe you've got 3 MRI machines, right? And they're all running Windows 7. We'd like you to upgrade them to Windows 10 or replace them, but you don't have the money to do it. And so we look at the utilization information and we see, oh, you only need 2 MRI machines, but you're paying for maintenance on all 3. So let's, discontinue the use of that 3rd MRI machine. You can stop paying your support on that. And then you can use the money you would have paid support on that machine to upgrade the other 2 machines. And that way you've got a budgetary neutral action, but now you're more secure and you're in a better position.
Well, that's really great. And, that's the kind of, information that the boots on the ground technology managers might not be thinking of right away because they don't have that high level perspective.
Right. That's why it's really good that more hospitals are hiring CISOs for their organization, because then you have someone who can look at the big picture and also support business decisions. There's a ton of examples like that where, hospitals have hundreds of infusion pumps that they're not using, right? So maybe you need to put in place a program to better manage check-in and check-out of those. Like we can look at those kinds of things and do that kind of analysis. So cybersecurity actually helps your budget instead of hurting your budget.
Oh, that's really great. And so let's say all this awareness and all these good things where we're managing our budget better is still not enough of an incentive. Are there incentives or at least calls to action coming from the federal side these days? Oh,
that's a great point. Yeah. So President Biden announced that healthcare is going to be a significant aspect to the legislation that's moving forward. And we've had already the Patch Act as part of the omnibus bill. That's really interesting. We could talk a little bit about that.
Sure.
But even just talking about the finance piece, nothing's come out yet, but we're expecting to see that there's going to be grants for hospitals to be able to afford these cybersecurity tools. So you can make the investment and then you can reap both the cybersecurity rewards and these other kinds of financial rewards as well.
Oh, that's great. And you know what? So we did touch upon that those early, that's something to look forward to. We'll keep an eye on it. But let's dive into the Patch Act a little bit. I'm sure our readers are a little bit familiar with it, but can you describe what it is?
Well, I don't want to get into all of it. It's a bit much to talk about.
A long video,
but I think I'll point out one thing, which is the one aspect that most people are talking about right now. Which is requiring medical device manufacturers to produce a software bill of materials or SBOM for their products. And what that is basically just a list of all of the third-party software components within that medical device. So, for example, one of our Magnetome MRI machines is running on Windows 10. Windows 10 is going to be on the list. Right. And then all the other things that go into making that software work.
Yeah.
And so one of the big benefits I see is that the FDA is now going to be requiring that for new submissions. And so, we can, the whole industry can be more confident that the devices that we're putting out are going to be on up-to-date software. And one thing that's really important for cybersecurity is making sure your software is up to date. There are pluses and minuses to that. To the SBOM piece of it. We've been producing SBOMs for a very long time on our products. We were early adopters of the whole SBOM concept, and we distribute those to our customers through our customer portal called Team Play Fleet. And, but it does put, there's this concept of security through obscurity, which nobody really loves, because obscurity is not a great way to secure a system. Like, it should be secure in its own right. But that SBOM does give attackers the tools to find holes in products.
Right, they know the means.
They know, right. If you know what's in there, you know what potential holes and vulnerabilities are in a system. And you were talking about legacy devices, right? So now it becomes even more important that hospitals are upgrading their devices.
That said, though, it must be also beneficial for the people who are in charge of cybersecurity or maintenance, even during or after an attack, to know, okay, I know which of my devices is vulnerable because I have that SBOM. I have that list. We saw this with
Log4j, yeah. Yeah, so again, pluses and minuses. On one side, on the plus side, it enables the hospital to say, okay, which of my products have, for example, Log4j built in. On the other hand, what it doesn't tell you is, in the context of that particular product, is there an actual vulnerability? We have many products that have Log4j in them, but they're used for back-end processing. There's no connection. They're not open to the network, and they're not even open on like the user interface side. So we had a number of products where, people were freaking out. Oh my God, it's got Log4j in it. Where's the patch? And there was no vulnerability. So I think on one side, great, we can help identify the products that might be vulnerable. But on the other hand, it's going to cause a lot of work for hospitals that they don't need to do and really shouldn't be doing. Like, we as the manufacturers should be doing the vulnerability evaluations, not the hospitals.
Right. So then I guess, what is the call to action here? Is there a call to action for education? How do we help resolve this?
I think it's a field that's changing so quickly right now. It's hard to really say how this is going to shake out. I was just saying on a panel yesterday that it would be great if, we took this to maybe like a public-private partnership where we weren't just looking at SBOMs for products, but we were taking it to that next vulnerability level, because that's what hospitals should really have in their hands. Yeah.
Okay, great. This has been a very enlightening conversation. I'm sure our readership would appreciate it as well. I wanted to end with just purely asking you, is there anything on Siemens' side that you wanted to bring up that you think everybody should know about?
Sure. Like we've been talking about, having a medical device security program is incredibly important. Many institutions aren't able to hire the personnel for one reason or another. And we at Siemens Healthineers are here to help you. I mentioned our partnership with Medigate. They're fabulous. And we also have managed services on top of that can help run your medical device cybersecurity program for you. So that's a really cost-effective way. Again, I keep going back to cost because that's so important in HDOs. But as a knowledgeable medical device manufacturer, we know how to secure medical devices. And so we can really help HDOs with all of their equipment, not just Healthineers equipment.
All right, sounds good. Well, this has been really great. It sounds like there's a lot of excitement happening on the show floor, so I'll let you get back to it. Thanks again.
Thank you so much. It was great talking to you.
Appreciate it.